Hello, my name is Juliana, and the topic of my speech is the struggle to vote. I will inform you of the march from Selma to Montgomery and the events that led up to the Voting Rights Act of 1965. The first event is what blacks call Freedom Day. During the month of October 1963, individuals were allowed to register to vote. When blacks made the attempt to register to vote, they had to wait in long lines. They were asked to recite the entire Constitution. They were even asked to count how many jelly beans were in a glass jar before they could register. On July 7, 1964, President Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which extended voting rights and outlawed racial segregation in local areas, to include schools, workplaces, and restaurants. With such a significant act in place, blacks tried to eat at local restaurants. They tried to attend local movie theaters. 50 blacks even attempted to vote, and they were severely beaten, gassed, or attacked by dogs. With such an outcome, the Black Leaders of Selma reached out and asked for help from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. On January 2, 1965, Dr. King led a speech, and that began the Selma voting rights movement. Unfortunately, during one of the demonstrations, Jimmy Lee Jackson was killed when he was trying to protect his mother and his grandfather at a local restaurant. The members of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference wanted to hold a march to Montgomery. They figured that would be able to handle a violent act with a non-violent act. Now that you have heard some of the treatments that blacks had to go through, I will discuss the various attempts they made to march from Selma to Montgomery. The first attempt happened on March 7, 1965. It included 500 to 600 civil rights marchers, and when the marchers reached Edmund Pettus Bridge and were asked to turn back, they were beaten with nightsticks, sprayed with tear gas, and even attacked by dogs. 17 marchers had to be hospitalized, and that day was officially known as Bloody Sunday. Dr. King made a second attempt on March the 9th to march again. But when they reached the bridge, instead of them continuing to cross, they kneeled and had a short prayer and turned around. This is what's known as Turnaround Tuesday. The third march occurred from March 21st to March 25th. President Lyndon Johnson had seen and heard the results that happened on Bloody Sunday, so he sent out U.S. Army, National Guard, FBI agents, and federal marshals to assist the marchers in their march. The march covered 5 days, 4 nights, and it covered 54 miles. It started out with 300 people and ended up with almost 2,500. As a result of the march and the attempt, President Lyndon Johnson went to Congress on March 1965 and asked to have a new Voting Rights Act put into place. And on August 6, 1965, the Voting Rights Act bill was placed. It was signed. The Voting Rights Act prohibited states from imposing any voting qualifications or prerequisites to voting or standards, practice, or procedures to deny or abridge the right of any citizen in the United States to vote on account of race or color. In attendance was Dr. King, Ms. Rosa Parks, and other civil rights leaders. The Voting Rights Act was a 5-year trial basis, but it was extended throughout the years, and on July 7, 2006, former President George Bush renewed the act for another 25 years. I have expressed to you the hardships that black people faced from 63 to 65, the treatments they experienced, the marches that took place, and the final result, the Voting Rights Act of 1965. I will end tonight with a quote from the speech that President Johnson gave to Congress. Quote, "What happened in Selma is part of a far larger movement which reaches every section and state of America. It is the effort of American Negroes to secure themselves the full blessings of American life. Their cause must be our cause, because it is not just Negroes, but really it's all of us, who must overcome the crippling legacy of bigotry and injustice. and we shall overcome. End quote. Thank you.